I mean, thanks for coming to BizTalk. It's my great pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Max. Thank you for inviting me.
So let's start giving an intro about yourself, and after we can talk about your startup.
Okay, brilliant. Well, my name is Amin. I am a CEO, CTO, personal shopper, delivery driver, shop assistant, and a cleaner at InstaZap. I've been wearing multiple hats ever since I was 10 years of age. That's when I had my very first business. And I just ever since I was young, I always wanted to actually double my pocket money. And as I grew as I grew older, like I thought perhaps I should just stick with it, but at the same time I wanted to be an engineer. So I came to Ireland from Karachi when I was still in my teens with a dream to become an engineer. It'll still be additional 12 years before I graduate as an electronic and computer engineer and secure myself a job within Fortune 500 company. And then a lot changed during those, a lot changed in those 12 years, because I done, from working as a delivery driver to a security officer to the retail assistant. Then I worked in HR, I worked in recruitment, I worked as a business development exec, and then I had multiple small businesses and startups, in trading. And then I got involved in a few startups prior to InstaZap, from ranging from BPO company to energy startup, renewable energy startup, and yeah, digital agency, software company, and bits and pieces. But all of that brought me to this idea of InstaZap. So all the network I have built, the people I have met along the line, and experiences I've gained, life experiences, and how unit economics and overall ecosystem operates. So yeah, so the vision of InstaSap came from all these experiences pretty much. Yeah.
Thank you, Amin. So let's start talking about ISASAP.
So InstaSap's vision is to be one for all super app for all your daily needs. Okay, so we say instant needs fulfilled in minutes. And I want to start with the the you know the customers we are serving right now, that how exactly this ecosystem is operating. Okay, so giving the example of students, so anything from a packet of ham and loaf of bread in the morning, getting delivered instantaneously, or late night snacks, or weekly shop. They use our platform to get their instant needs fulfilled, or even if it's dropping an iPhone and breaking the screen and getting somebody to pick it up and repair it and bring it back. Okay, and then busy parents, obviously they are our very big percentage of our platform users, so they use it again to go avoid going to do the person like shopping to the supermarkets because of their busy schedules. And getting Subway, take like McDonald's, KFC for the children, and last minute needs, like we have actually seen trends where people are actually off ordering just a packet of toilet rolls, for example, and getting them delivered, like, so that's the data inside what we have been doing. And then healthcare professionals, especially the home healthcare professionals who are not able to leave the environment they're in, or busy professionals working in hospitals, they avail of our platform greatly as well. And then business owners who are not able to, first of all, they're not very tech savvy, and they don't have the presence, especially in provincial and like suburban towns, who do not have the great digital presence, and at the same time, what you call it, they can't really afford to be on popular platforms which offer them the logistics and the online delivery offering because of the higher percentages. So they are our customers. So I talked about InstaZap's vision. So as I said, the vision is to be one for all super app for all your daily needs. So we are operational since 2020, and we started off with our online delivery platform, where we were fulfilling the orders for our local takeaway restaurant partners, and then we onboarded local businesses. Then we move to have our own Instamart by InstaZap, where we keep our own inventory, and this is where we do our, electronic repair service offering as well. So we call them our community hubs. This is where our super zappers are, our delivery drivers / personal shoppers who go and carry out the shopping, either if it needs to be done or do the delivery, so they are again gathered all in the community in our fulfillment / Instamart by InstaZap. Service element, I just touched based on it, that we have started with, doing the repair services, but in that we have also accommodated, cleaning services. So if somebody's looking for a cleaner, or, like if somebody's looking for a babysitter, so that's element is still work in progress right now. Moving forward, we are going to look into InstaDeal, where people will be able to do, local, hyper-local marketplace with the logistics side of things. InstaParcel is something to be picked up from one place to, delivered to another. And Insta Anything is what we offer our customers. So any customized order. So even if the business is not, featured on our platform, the request can still come in, and our super zapper, goes and complete that request for our customer. So what exactly the problem we are solving? So during pandemic, that became more apparent, but this is where the future is headed anyway. There are limited supermarket delivery capacity, okay, for people to actually get the food, grocery delivered. Local SMEs have no infrastructure to have very minimal digital presence, and people living in provincial towns, ones without the transport, the ones, who are healthcare professionals, and, again, there are almost 250,000 students only in Ireland, who do not have any way of getting their instant needs fulfilled, instantaneously. Again, and then the other element of that on the other side is that there are almost 8,000 businesses in Ireland, as in like restaurant and takeaways, and 98% of them, according to the survey which was carried out just there a little while, I think it was 3 weeks ago, it was published, and 98% of them believe that paying 33% of the commissions is not sustainable, and many are in net negative, and it's a big problem in the food industry. And there are specific groups actually which are creating these groups and saying no to these high commissions. And then there are 40,000 retail businesses in Ireland, and only less than 5% of them offer same-day delivery, of their services and their offerings. There's a huge gap right now. What we have noticed, with empowering local businesses, especially if they're not in bigger metropolitan businesses, my metropolitan cities. And then recently, over pandemic, Government of Ireland made 20 million available, helping SMEs to trade online, so basically the businesses who weren't equipped or ready to actually trade online, government invested heavily to get them to have their own digital presence and website, while at InstaZap, we are actually giving them the full solution, because after you have your digital presence, and there are other elements, which has to be taken into consideration before you can translate all of that into the actual revenue for your business, So what is the solution? Integrated quick commerce and on-demand services platform with physical presence hub in the community. So that's what InstaZap is. As you can see, there is a first synopsis of our landing, app page, and then there are 10 integrated apps, which are supporting the entire ecosystem of InstaZap. Okay, behind the scene, we have local businesses paying less than 50% less in platform fee, with the option to just use our platform as logistics as service. Okay, so if they don't want to be featured, and if they just want to actually offer this, the same day delivery, they use our logistics, pool of super zappers, and we keep our super zappers on fixed rate, and we offer them e-bikes, good for the environment, in e-vans, and a career progression path as well. And that way we are able to actually offer the reliable offering to our services, and it's serving us quite well. And recently I came across, in Frost and Sullivan, there was a study which was published, that in coming 5 years, the quick commerce is going to be the #1 trend, okay, where there's an integration of food and grocery together. And in 5 years, industry is expected to reach, from 22 billion to 75 billion just in these 3 regions, US, Europe, and China. That's like compound annual growth of 32% we are talking about here. So on the competitive landscape in Ireland, we are looking at, so we have Just Eat and Uber Eats here on the right. But again, they are not really our direct competition because their proposition is, again, heavily focused on bigger cities. And at the same time, they are not into instant needs space the way we have integrated the solution. We have actually, deployed and on a roadmap, incorporating, the other needs as well. BuyMe is another player in this market. Again, their focus is only on grocery, but they are, again, just supermarket, personal shopping they offer. And their focus, I was listening to one of the talks from the leadership of BuyMe. They were talking about only focusing on bigger towns as opposed to provincial and suburban towns. And that's where the big market of InstaZap is. So this is where we place ourselves, because we are able to generate revenues which are, makes more unit economic sense, because the way we have positioned ourselves with our business model, and we have, like I said, our beta launch was back in May 2020, and then we did a hard launch in September. So we have actually been able to evolve our entire business model to answer it, to make it more scalable and more personal and more, like I said, make more sense in unit economics. So we are looking at the trajectory in coming years for starting this year close to 1 million based on our historical data. And then next year, hopefully, we're looking at around 3.5 million in sales, and then 7.5, with, again, expanding out to almost 24 different suburban towns we are looking at, okay? So right now we are just, for the milestones, we have just, for the milestones between 2022 and 2023, we're looking at 600K. And we have divided into the tranches of how we are going to divide. So 15% of that is going to go to Instamart, 18% towards the marketing, 7% is towards the product development, 24% towards the business development, 25 is going to be the overheads to actually accommodate the entire ecosystem, and I've kept the 10% is the opportunity pot. So as you can see, the market is rapidly progressing, and allowing that space is something, which will keep us quite agile to take the right measures depending on the data which will prevail in coming months. So that's pretty much what InstaZap is, ultra fast food delivery at the heart of something much bigger, an efficient Q-commerce and on-demand service platform, and instant needs fulfilled in minutes. So thank you so much, Max.
Thank you, Amin. Let me ask you, regarding you today food, what I can see, you're not going to stop yourself in food. You're moving almost everywhere, which means your aim is to be a super connecting application. It's not only competing with Uber Eats, Deliveroo, where they are. How do you manage this level of interaction in between your application? Also because delivery food and maybe take care of the mom who is going to, I don't know, bring in the kids to school. It takes a lot of effort.
Yes, and it's a very good question. And yes, very first thing what you just said, right, is the super connecting app is a very good way to put it. I have often referred it as a friend in a pocket, that's how we usually go about, that you need, because when we say instant needs fulfilled in minutes, so define instant needs, okay? And as far as your imagination can go, yes, there are a lot of moving parts, okay? And for that, we have to be very strategic as to what segment we are starting with and then building up on that. So as I mentioned, one of the biggest adapters we have are students. Okay, so when we say that, let's talk about that, third level education, or like one segment of our application, what are their instant needs into different elements? Okay, so somebody getting a breakfast in the morning, weekly shopping done, they're breaking their phone and they want somebody to just replace it for them instantaneously. There was a party night before and so they need a cleaner, right? Because the house is in a mess, right? So now they know that the Instas app is there to fulfill all of those things. And to be honest, right, and it's on a humorous side, but we have seen trends where around 10 o'clock you would have like Ben and Jerry's and packet of condoms and like some crisps to go with it, is sort of like a basket items we are looking at here. Okay, so there's an enormous trend shift as to how convenience is perceived, how our like instant needs are perceived. I often talk to the team and I envision InstaZap to be the bridge between the world now and the metaverse or the Web3 we are headed in, right? So you want to basically get people into the mindset of using one technology platform which can pretty much look after all of your like things which can easily be automated. So this is where InstaZap is going to play the role. So we are going to start very carefully strategically with the segment by segment, and then obviously then sky is the limit, right? So we will see how we're going to like equate. So I hope that sort of cover what you were asking, that how we are limiting the different in like segments.
It does. Regarding the economics, you are B2B, okay? Are the shops, anyone, any business you are going to help to be present online and to deliver the same day or the next day? How exactly your business model works? Because it's true, all of these big guys, they charge a lot, but they really charge a lot also because when you scale, you need more money, you need more cash. And this is why when you're small, you can even afford 10, 20%, and after you need to grow. And Netflix, for example, today they collapsed and 40% down. And they understand that maybe because they have less subscription, they need to push up, and maybe it can be even counterproductive, the how much you need to pay for it. So what's your take on subscription or percentage in your case they had to pay? I mean, you are not going to up to the 32%, of course not. How can you manage this balance?
Okay, you see, yeah, and again, the way I articulate that in simple terms, right, is first of all, InstaZap is B2B and B2C as well. Okay, so when you have the B2C element with our own fulfillment centers, our own margins, our own services, we are able to actually articulate our margins in a way that we don't have to put the entire burden of our scalability onto poor business owners, SMEs in this case. Okay, that's one element. The second element is that I don't really, expansion and time to market is very important, but these guys need to charge that much because they want rapid expansion, right? Which is a bubble in my opinion, to be honest, right? And even with the recent trends, what you would see, right, that everybody wants to jump on a bandwagon, and 50 people will just start something similar, and then it's gonna just get filtered, right? So dividing that balance, okay, with the business model, that where you're not putting all the pressure onto your partners. Secondly, you're offering services which you have the control of the entire journey from end to end, so you start your service offering and you can control the entire experience, not just relying on the third parties, because this is where the cost comes, in reality. Okay, so you want to make the business profitable with like the models of the big players, as we talked about. They need to compensate into heavy like discounts, for example, to acquire the customers, like that they go into the market. So I give you an example. In one of the towns we were operational, so Uber Eats wasn't there, to give you an example. and we were there already. So we had sort of like time to market was a significance, because the smaller towns is not really on the roadmap for all these big players. Okay, so provincial towns is very small market for them. Let's put it that way. So we went in there. We had the customer loyalty, but then when Uber did come onto that in that town, what we notice is that their model is mainly devised, according to the bigger cities. So half of the time the drivers are not available. So the couriers are not available to do the delivery for certain restaurants and takeaways, okay, who are using Uber's logistics platform, okay? And the reason people are not signing up from, if you talk about from the fleet end, is because it's not making much sense for them to be available, because there are a number of orders, the volume isn't there, right? While the way we have devised our model is that we are able to incentivize our super zappers the way they're supposed to be, incentivized, but we are keeping the availability of the services. So if we are promising that you come to our app, you are going to get, that aspect. So that's the gold, nugget we actually believe that we have cracked. And I'm sure other people have thought of it too. And articulating that into the actual moving parts, it's challenging, it's challenging. But we are doing it for, like I said, almost 17 months, and we are on a trajectory, and we are making progress, for better.
You are doing well. You're already making money, which is very rare when it comes to startup. It takes at least 2-3 years to see something. You're already making on average 60, 70,000 per month, which is remarkable. How do you charge your consumers, your customer, not the business, the consumers?
So there's two elements to that. So like I said, so when we have our own service offerings, and if we have our own inventory, or, the services we do in-house, we have margins, okay? And these margins goes from anywhere between, 15 to 150%, depending on the product, okay? And depending on what exactly. So this is so by nature, I am very data driven. That's my engineering side, okay? So data is something I let. Data is like my Bible, and I let data do the dictating, okay? So if we are, serving certain demographics, and if we know that there's a demand for the market, so we can procure it, and we can procure it at greater prices, okay? And then we can articulate and translate that into profitability. That's one aspect. So for that, you need to really be letting data be your guide. And the second element is that if customers do want premium service, so we are a premium service, okay? So we are not for everybody. Like, there's two things I always talk about, with my team as well, that not everybody's going to be our culture fit, okay? And the second thing is that not everybody's going to understand InstaZap either, okay? It's like, you want somebody to go on your behalf and carry out the shopping or get you something, okay? It's a premium service, okay? The person is putting in the time to carry that out for you. So what we do is that we charge the service premium, okay? So there's a platform premium, which again ranges, anything between 7% to 18%, give thereabouts. But on a basket size, it really isn't breaking the bank for customers, but it's making economical sense for us to be able to reward our super zappers, So that's the second element. It's like taking a bus or taking a taxi, right? So that's how, you say, oh, but both of them are doing the same job, getting you from point A to point B, but bus is only charging you perhaps €2 from destination, and then taxi is going to charge you 20, right? So that element, we are educating the market as well while we are at it. We are educating our customer base to that. So these are the two ways of us making money from our consumers, and then business side is already understood by everybody.
What about your market? Where are you today?
So as I said, right now we're in Ireland, and Ireland's, provincial towns. So we have kept ourselves a bar. So we are pretty open to smaller towns, okay, because of our community hubs, as I mentioned, which is open to public as well. People can do click and collect as well. So it does make economical sense for us to be there, so those are smaller towns we are targeting. So you know, we are looking at between Ireland, and then obviously we are looking to a scale in the coming 12 to 18 months into the UK market as well, you know, starting from Northern Ireland. So we are looking at about, you know, there's about 500 towns, okay, 500 small towns. And if I were to talk about my SAM here, very realistic, we are looking at about you know, like $1 billion you know, euros worth of market, which you can easily tap, providing the same model. And if you can replicate it and keep it, you know, the way we are running right now into the 2 to 3 use cases of the towns we have. For that, obviously, we need the capital injection, and for that, we need, you know, like people to really understand what we are doing.
But how do you scale your business? Because on one end, you need to move out to Ireland, go into the UK, and maybe after to Europe. And at the same time, you need to scale your service.
Yes.
How do you manage it?
So like I said, right? So for the next 3 to 4 years, I am looking at this, you know, like this element I talked about, that instant delivery / groceries and personal shopping. And then the rest of the vision, it's gonna come at the later stage. So there's that element is capped. So it's not like that we are simultaneously going to be scaling our services, and at the same time we're going to be scaling in terms of the region wise, territory wise. So we're going to cap that. So the phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3, that's how we have done in terms of our servicing. And then when you talk about the regional, that once we have our phase 1, which is as is right now, which is developed, we're going to scale that first, and then let the revenue and let the data again, you know, guide us, and then make decisions accordingly, if that makes sense.
Of course. What's the vision?
Vision, like I said, right, is that pretty much you don't have to worry about, you know, the daily tasks, because it's automated, you know. So I'm going to incorporate then machine learning, and, you know, how we can make it personalized for you. It's a friend in your pocket for you, okay? All your daily needs basically are literally looked after, because you don't even have to put thought. Then you can do something meaningful, which this our human race actually need, right? So when I have taken, you know, the worry about the leaking tap in your house, and, you know, your breakfast is looked after and everything else is looked after, it's a good thing as well. You know, there is a argument on the other side as well, but it's a good thing. Why? Because people who are going to adapt to this automation, there's a lot of movement already there. So if somebody looks after something for me from the morning till night, and I don't have to worry about all of that, my family is looked after, my kids are looked after, then I have more time to actually do things which really matter, which mean something to me, you know, how I can maximize my time. So that's really the vision. And then once you understand that concept, then the metaverse, and then how the you know, the humans are going to evolve in coming years with the technology, then you will be ready to take that leap. But right now, if I were to talk to you about all of that that's going on in that, you know, that Web3 world, not everybody can really grasp that concept. So I don't want to leave anybody behind. Build that bridge, educate everybody, bring everybody, you know, to where we're supposed to be, and make an impact, perhaps.
When investors should invest in your application and yourself, what's your point of selling?
Okay. Look, I have, you know, we have a tremendous, you know, team of tremendous people, okay, with so much grit, and what we have achieved with very minimal. So when people start looking in, you know, into, you know, under the wraps, okay, how we have actually created this ecosystem with very minimal investment and efficiency, it's mind-boggling for people. So we know how to improvise, first of all. And then you're talking to a guy who had a very first business at the age of 10, okay, and it took him 12 years to become an engineer, and along the line he didn't waste his time, and he just kept learning, and keep, you know, is still learning, and having the exposure to have worked with multinationals and, you know, like Fortune 500s, and, you know, build the team, and to have something to show for today. It's a testament, right? So, you know, again, I would let them you know, make their decision based on the data I just presented, right? So let the data be the guide, if
Absolutely.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, data has to talk. You know, everyone can talk with words, but facts That's what in the end of the day is going to make the difference.
That's it. And that's what we have right now with the traction, with the numbers, with what we are doing today, and it's sort of like, it's a leap of faith, but at the same time, it's a safe bet for the investors as well, when they get talking to us.
I mean, thank you so much for coming to BizTalk. It's been a very great pleasure for me.
Thank you, Max. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.